All right, welcome back. Curbside College, week 4 already. Damn, this shit flying by, man. Hope y'all enjoyed them last episodes, man. I've been putting a lot of work into doing this thing here, man. And I kind of hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down, man. We're going to get a little bit more exciting. We're going to start doing the little things. We're going to get into some interviews at the top of the year, you know. We moving right along. So if you're here with me right now, I appreciate you and I love you, man. Welcome to Curbside College, man. Welcome to college, man, where we learning, but I ain't teaching. You know what I'm saying? So this past weekend, it seemed like, I had a lot of weird experiences this weekend, but one stood out to me. You know what I'm saying? One stood out real good. I was getting some guests. All right, story time. Story time, right? I'm not going to say what gas station it was. I'm not going to do that. I'm not finna slander them unless they pay me. I'll give them some press. But anyway, long story short, I'm pulling up to get me some gas, right? I'm minding my business, doing my thing, get out the car, look around, normal Oakland gas station shit. So I walk in when I'm getting close to the door, right? I'm getting close to the gas station door, and I hear a bunch of commotion. That noise is familiar. You know what I'm saying? I knew it was a girl in there tripping. She was doing a bunch of stumbling around, clapping hands. You know how that shit go. You know how this Oakland shit go. So I walk in the door. As soon as I walk in the door, I look at the cashier. The cashier looking at me like this. I said, oh, shit. Then I look around. The girl comes stumping up the aisle, dragging a baby, right? I'm like, damn, here we go with this shit, right? So I tried to hurry up and get my little water and get my money ready so I could get in and out. Man, she beat me to the counter. So now I'm sitting behind her. All right, she getting into it with the dude about some crispy, crunchy chicken and how much she paid and she got charged 25 cents more and all that shit, right? So I'm just sitting back there. I'm kind of getting a little irritated. So I hold my horses, right? The baby turned around and looked at me with the saddest little face. I'm like, man, I know. I was young before too. Mama was be tripping, right? So the lady reached in her purse and grabbed her wallet and dropped something, right? So like the gentleman I am, I reached down and pick it up and try to give it to her, right? And when I tapped her on the shoulder, she turned around like, what? And what you want? I said, ma'am, you dropped a card. You know what I'm saying? And she reached around and took it. Oh, I'm just saying, because if you had a problem, I'm like, okay, all right. Look, I just didn't had it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just didn't had it with all this kind of shit. Like, I don't even be wanting to be around that kind of ignorance no more. So after I pay for my gas and get back to the car, you know what I'm saying? I watched her walk out, and then another lady met her. So I'm looking at the other lady, and they looking like that must be her mama. Same attitude, same walk, same everything. What's taking y'all so motherfucking long? I'm like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? And then I get in the car after I pump my gas and get back in the car. I'm like, I start thinking like, why is anger and proposed violence our first reaction to everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Why do we choose anger first? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, so being the journalist I am now, I start deep diving into my own thoughts, right? Okay, why is violence the first emotion we pick when dealing with a problem? Or not even dealing with a problem, we're dealing with a situation that may not be going our way at first, right? So, first place I went, okay, the mama was like that, so we probably got some family trauma. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's behavioral. Maybe that's generational behavior passed down from generation to generation. We ain't got nothing to do with that. That's just how we was raised, right? Okay, boom. So I don't remember my grandma being such an angry person. So at what generation did the angry shit start getting passed down? You know what I'm saying? That's what I started asking myself. Like, at where did the anger first start getting passed down? All right. Then I'm like, okay, my granny and them and our grandparents, a lot of our grandparents, they had their shit together. They had houses, they had businesses, you know what I'm saying? And that's just like that's just like the generation before mine, our parents' parents. So somewhere in between there, you know what I'm saying? The emotional intelligence or regulation gap started. If you get what I'm saying. What I mean by that is when somebody, I think this, and this is all my own perception. This is all my own thoughts. I believe that when a person chooses anger to be their first emotion or reaction to a situation, either that person is one, haven't been taught emotional regulation or intelligence, or two, that they just ignorant and they don't know how to respond. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I think. Then I said, man, that's not really fair. You know what I'm saying? Because it could be a broad range of things. And this is me having a conversation with myself. You know what I'm saying? So I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, generational behavior passed down. At what generation did it? Emotional regulation and intelligence. You know what I'm saying? These are things that can possibly be the reason why we choose anger first as a culture. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of our backgrounds is the same. The way we raised, you know what I'm saying? The type of situations we had growing up. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I think a lot of these concepts is generalized. Generational behavior passed down, family trauma. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us grew up in houses where they was using drugs or alcohol and all that. You know what I'm saying? So that could be one reason. We got a lot of pent up anger behind that. You know what I'm saying? But then I got to thinking even deeper into that, right? I'm like, okay, with all these things going on, with all those characteristics I just named, that could possibly make a person fragile, right? Generational behavior passed down. Seeing your parents be angry and fighting and you choosing anger first, that molds you. You know what I'm saying? Not having nobody sit you down and teach you how to regulate your emotions and have emotional intelligence and all that, it molds you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking then I started to have compassion for the situation because I'm not exempt. You know what I'm saying? I came up in the ghetto with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So this not only applied to that lady and her mama that I seen in the gas station, it applied to me. So now I really start thinking about it, right? So with all those characteristics that I just named, think about what type of persona that give a person. Think about what type of character that give a person. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like we using anger as a defense mechanism for people not knowing that we really didn't have love or didn't, wasn't taught to respect nobody or something like that, because a lot of people is caring people when you catch them by themselves. A lot of people intelligent when you catch them by themselves. A lot of people care about a lot of other things you wouldn't expect them to. But coming up in the community that we come up in, anger can just be a defense mechanism so you won't seem vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Or you won't just look weak out here. You know what I'm saying? But the problem with that is that people that got emotional intelligence understand that anger is an ignorant response to most situations because every situation don't require an angry response. You know what I'm saying? Every situation, most situations require a different emotion to handle them properly. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we got to start understanding where these type of things come from. You know what I'm saying? Because if you only using one emotion to deal with everything, how can you be dealt with or deal with? Let me help you understand what I'm talking about. I'm not saying being dealt with like, man, I'm gonna deal with it. No, not nothing like that. I'm saying if you in an interaction with somebody and in the first characteristic you display is anger, how can a person even think to even help you or even try to help you see that this can go another way if you're only using one emotion, and vice versa? How can you show a person better or try to pay good fortune forward if you only using anger? You know what I'm saying? That's what we got to start thinking about. That's what we got to start thinking about. You know what I'm saying? And that's directly correlated to a topic that we all care about. Money. It's a financial thing too. Your emotions got a direct tie to the way you spend your money. You know what I'm saying? A direct tie to the way you spend your money. Your attitude towards life in general can dictate how you spend your money. Now, you know what I'm saying? Okay, think about it. I think about, okay, let me go into some literature right quick. I was reading this book called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, right? And he, in one of his chapters, he discussed how the way you seen your parents deal with money got a lot to do with the way you deal with money. So, for example, if you grew up and your mom always say, we ain't got enough money for that, we can't do that, we can't afford that, we can't afford that, you gonna grow up thinking money is scarce. You see what I'm saying? And regardless, in whatever emotion that scarce money bring to you, that's what you gonna have. Not saying that it's gonna bring a specific emotion or a specific behavior, but that can be the cause behind it. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta think about it, right? Think about if you're angry all the time, which was the reason why I even brought this up. Think about if you respond to every situation with anger, right? I did a little digging on what is the human characteristics of a person that always choose anger. And one of the one that stood out to me was that anger creates impulsivity. Is that a word? Is impulsivity a word? Anyway, I'm sure somebody will tell me. Being angry creates impulsive behavior, right? So think about if you got plans and you trying to stack money, or you trying to got a goal you got to reach, but you always responding with anger. The first thing you're going to do impulsively is try to make yourself feel better, right? And that's going to do what? Cost you. 9 times out of 10, you trying to make yourself feel better, it's going to cost you some money. You see what I'm saying? And this is just one avenue that I could think about, that being angry all the time can affect your finances. Being impulsive, being angry all the time. You know what I'm saying? So we got to start trying to get that stuff under control. You know what I'm saying? We got to start trying to get that stuff under control. And then, even after you impulsively spending up all your money because you angry all the time, you going to be back mad again because you broke and you done spent it up. You going to come back the next time. You going to look at your bank account or however you keep your money. You're going to be like, damn. And then you're going to be mad all over again. So it's a cycle of anger, right? Wait, I just had a eureka moment. It's a cycle of anger that we have once we start to use anger as our first emotion. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Your relationship with money is directly correlated to how you was raised. You know what I'm saying? Some people taught to think abundance. You know what I'm saying? Some people taught to think that it's enough out here for everybody. And I'm one of those people. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of those people that think it's enough money for everybody. I never hold a dollar from nobody, because I'm enough of an optimist to think that nobody will never hold a dollar from me. But I know that ain't always true. You know what I'm saying? Because some people got the scarcity mindset. But if you was raised in a household where money flowed easily, that's how it's gonna happen for you. It's directly correlated on how we was raised, man. And once you start to think about that, once you start to unpack that about yourself, you will see why you are the way you are with money. You know what I'm saying? You will see why you are how you are with money. You know? Because one thing I learned about the difference between our curriculum in school and a higher quality curriculum like in the private area is that they taught capitalism. I'm not going to get in too much to capitalism, but you know, poor people seem to think capitalism is bad. You know, they think people that's all about the money and will step on people about the money is a bad thing. You know, I got my views on that. You know, it could be a good or a bad thing, but you got to get the money to make change. How you going to make change if you don't make no money? If you don't start to capitalize on the way this country was built, if you don't start to capitalize on the system that's going to run the same way, whether we just think it's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the things we got to start thinking about too. You know, it's wrong that people. It's wrong that McDonald's sell bad food. It's wrong that they cloning chicken, whatever. And that's just what come to my head when I think of capitalism, because we steady buying the shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I had another statistic. Hold on, let me find it. It was a good one too. It was a good one. Oh, here it go. Boom. Now, the okay. Aside from aside from money being the way you spend money being directly correlated on how you was raised, here's an interesting statistic. A countrywide, the median household income for a black family is 44,000. 44,000. If you in California, you know 44,000, you living under the bridge, you living under the freeway. You know that even 44,000 can't do nothing. But generally in the country, the African American family makes 44,000 a year. But hold on. The money that float the African American spending is over $1 trillion. Over $1 trillion. Where's that money coming from? Impulsive spending? You know what I'm saying? Angry that somebody got something you don't, so you go spend your bag to get something that nobody else ain't got? I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? And the people who can't work or hustle for the money, what they doing? Committing crimes. Oh man, committing crimes. Oh man. That's what they doing. Heinous ones though. I'm not gonna go into that like I did last episode. But what I am gonna do is talk about your boy Trigger Trump. Your boy Trigger Trump ain't playing. I just read something that say they're gonna deploy National Guard into Oakland within the next couple weeks. Within the next couple of weeks, Oakland's gonna have motherfucking tanks rolling up and down E14. Bancroft, downtown. Imagine you downtown, you having a drink, you chilling, and you see a Humvee with a tank behind it hit the corner talking about going to the house. You're gonna be like, man, what? You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. And I think, and for some reason, I think Oakland police is like purposely not working. Like it just don't feel like they trying to stop the heinousness. You know what I'm saying? Even it's man. Look, I'm gonna just not even go there. But look, I did a little digging on what the process might be if the National Guard come to Oakland, right? They got this thing called the Insurrection Act, right? Where if things begin to come uncivil in an area, the president of the United States got limited authority to send a National Guard in to restore civilization to its natural order, right? Okay. Oakland definitely got lawlessness. Oakland is definitely uncivil at times. And that's just the stuff we know about. It's a bunch of shit happening that don't make the news. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, so step one is that the National Guard will come in and stand next to the police and do an aggressive assessment of the high crime areas, right? If you live in one of these areas, you're liable to see that if it happened. I'm just saying this is possibility. And this is just the information that I dug up. But aggressive assessment of any area that got high crime in it. Okay. If you're from Oakland, you know them areas. You know what I'm saying? But then here's the one that got me the most. Here's the one that had me the most confused. And they want to define the lines of authority in those high crime areas. Like, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? How do you define authority in a certain area? Like, so authority can be different from area to area. That don't make sense to me. You know what I'm saying? And then the next step. You know what I'm saying? Here's the next step. Um, I got my notes right here. That's why y'all see me looking down. But I did the information and I kind of made a list of the things that can apply to us. Me knowing my city, me knowing Oakland, right? They got this thing called after they define the lines of authority for each and every high crime area. They try to what they call forced posture. I said what? I said okay. The more I read, the more the terminology became unclear. You know what I'm saying? So forced posture, what does that mean? And who sets the criteria for the posture that Oakland need to be in? You know what I'm saying? Is it going to be a collaborative effort between the National Guard and the police? Or is the mayor going to, or does the mayor going to step in and say, hold on, or the governor, or we know, I ain't going to go there. Is the mayor going to step in and be like, hold on, this is how we run it? Or what? How's that going to go? All these terms is like hella vague. Like, you know what I'm saying? So basically I'm saying all this to say, we're going to see what happened. You know what I'm saying? Because that shit could turn bad. If these guys out here that's doing all this heinous crime is really that way when they see them tanks rolling up, that could be a problem. That could definitely be a problem. And like I always say, Oakland be a decent city if the crime wasn't so bad. I mean, you know what I'm saying? People hustling, they making money, stretching the law, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you know it's bad when people that break little crimes is tired of that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know it's bad then. You know it's bad. You know what I'm saying? Forced posture. What the fuck does that mean? How do you force posture on a city? Like, that's not clear to me. I don't know what that means. You know what I'm saying? So they're gonna have to goddamn, I don't know. Y'all gonna have to get ready for this shit because it's possible. I'm not saying it's here now, but it's possible. You know what I'm saying? For real. And even if they need to implement some type of strategy, they need to let the public know. Because, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these guys that's doing this shit look like we all look the same to them. That's another problem. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to dive too deep into that. I feel like I hate to feel like I'm fear mongering. You know what I'm saying? I hate to feel like I'm fear mongering on this show. But these are things that we got to be noticeable of. We got to pay attention to these kind of things, man. And we wouldn't even have this problem if y'all just stand down and just get y'all money. Stop being heinous. You know what I'm saying? But we do got to bring awareness to this, man. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to do too much more today. I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down, man. I'm enjoying doing this show, man. Seeing y'all every week, man. I appreciate the love I've been getting across all platforms, man. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X. You know what I'm saying? YouTube is a struggle. You know, I'm going to figure it out, though. But I appreciate all the love I've been getting. People DMing me, telling me good job, man. Keep it up. It's informative, man. That's what I'm doing it for. So we're going to wrap that up here, man. And see y'all next week. Episode 5 next week. We broke the record for most podcasts that quit. All right, y'all. Holla.